Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Faris Aiman bin Sukur from MLG 1204A, student number 2023-830694. So today I will be doing a presentation for my second assessment, which is individual presentation for the subject ELS253 Proofreading and Editing 2. So let's move on. So the agenda of today's presentation is first of all, we'll be looking at the original document that I've decided to proofread, and then we'll be looking at the corrected document, and then we'll be looking at the table of justification, and last but not least, we'll be looking at the content and context analysis. So here's the document overview of the document that I've decided to proofread. So as you can see, it is a cover letter and resume document by Faralina Sukur applying for the position of Manager of Health and Nutrition in the Science and Environment Division. So let's move on. As you can see, here's the original document that I've decided to proofread with markings in color code. So as you can see, red is for capitalization, blue is for grammatical error, yellow is for clarity, and then green is for spelling. So let's move on. So first of all, the table of justification. So have been turned into I have. I should be capitalized since it is start of a sentence. So this is the capitalization error. And then ground breaking have been turned into groundbreaking. The correct spelling is groundbreaking. There's no need to separate the two words. And then management have been turned into management. So the correct spelling is management, obviously, and then in have been turned into into. So into is used instead of in to emphasize the action of becoming deeply involved rather than be simply being involved. And then research with an S have been turned into just research. Research with an S is not the correct word to describe multiple research. The correct word is just research, since it is generally uncountable. And then moving on, for have been turned into in. So in is more appropriate than for after the word ability when referring to specific skills or field of expertise. And then I attach have been turned into I have attached. So I have attached is more appropriate than I attach in this context because it uses the present perfect tense to indicate that the action was recently completed and is relevant to the present moment. And then two have been turned into four. So four should replace the second two because opportunity is typically followed by four to indicate the purpose or benefit, making the phrase more grammatically correct and also sounds a lot more natural. And then last but not least, the forward for sentence maintain food assisted with, assess nutrition and provided support should all start with a capital letter to emphasize on the content, on the clarity of it. So here's the corrected document. As you can see, there's no more color coded marking, and I have edited it, so I'm sure it's all good now. And then moving on, the last part of this presentation is for the content and context analysis. So this document, as I have provided it, I think it has a strong background in health and nutrition. It managed to demonstrate considerable experience in clinical roles related to nutrition and health. However, the cover letter needs a bit of a language polishing. As you can see from the previous part of this presentation, the document contains punctuation error, inconsistent, capitalization, and minor misspelling. Despite that, I think the document managed to show clear enthusiasm. So the tone of the cover letter reflects strong interest and motivation for the role that have been applied for. And then lastly, personally, I think the resume is visually appealing. It is a well structured layout highlighting qualification, skills, experience effectively. So overall, I think the cover letter and resume is a very solid one. However, some minor mistakes should be more given attention to, such as the punctuation and then the clarity error and stuff. But overall, it's not a bad document, and I managed to correct it, I believe. So that will be all for my presentation today. Thank you for watching.